This is the lake, the Vista del Lago section across from the mausoleum at El Camino Mortuary and Cemetery in Mira Mesa, California, about 15 miles from downtown San Diego. And we're here to visit an old friend of yours and mine, Milburn Stone, July 5th, 1904 to June 12th, 1980. Lo, I am with you always. Beside him, the woman who was with him always, his wife, Jane G. Stone, born November 21st, 1912, died October 20th, 2002, in loving memory. We're right near Mira Mesa Naval Air Station, which is why you hear the drone of military airplanes overhead. Can't be helped. Milburn Stone was a veteran of many wars, though he passed up an opportunity to go to the Naval Academy as a young man, preferring instead to make his career as an actor. He was from Kansas originally, and wouldn't you know it, when he got to Broadway, he appeared in a show called The Jayhawkers. He then made his way out to Hollywood, and in 1935 he started to appear in a succession of films. Movies like The Long Gray Line, The Private War of Major Benson, Young Mr. Lincoln with Henry Fonda, and eventually in 1953 a Western, Arrowhead, starring Charlton Heston and Katie Jurado. 2 years later, he got the break of his life, or at least his career. He was hired to play Doc Adams on Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke had been a radio series, very popular. They decided to make it a television show on CBS. It became an even bigger hit. Stone was given the role of Doc, a role played on the radio by Howard McNear, who later became Floyd the Barber in the Andy Griffith Show. Stone made the most of the chance. Alongside his co-stars James Arness and Amanda Blake, he held forth on Gunsmoke for 604 episodes. The only 7 he missed were when he was in the hospital and needed surgery. For once, Doc needed a doc. I always used to envy Milburn Stone. Oh, not because he won an Emmy in 1968, or because he has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, or even because he owned a ranch in La Jolla where he spent his retirement fishing and making furniture, but because he had the world's easiest job, though it took him forever to get it. Every episode of Gunsmoke was pretty much the same. Doc would come in, examine the patient, and then he would tell the anxious loved ones waiting by the bedside or in the next room, "Well, I've done everything I can for him. It's in the Lord's hands now." One time he had dinner with Miss Kitty and company, and when she asked him to stay for her special homemade pie, he passed it up. Not on the grounds that he was going to act in New York or even enlist in the military, but because, as he said, "I gotta look in on Millie." Millie had just had a baby, and she wasn't doing too well, and so the gentleman at the table, rather solicitous of her welfare, said, "How's she coming along, Doc?" "Well, I've done everything I can for her. It's up to the Lord to decide." And then he went off and hitched up his wagon and I guess paid his respects to Millie before letting the Lord as chief physician take over. That was all Milburn Stone ever had to do. He didn't have to memorize his lines because he hardly had any. The script was always the same. He got to catch up on all his fan mail that way. And when the show went into syndication, oh boy, that was an even sweeter script. one that had dollar signs on it, and they always looked the same, in multiple zeros, that is. Yes, Milburn Stone had it all. He made it look easy, but what a rough road it was. He's not in Kansas anymore, is he, Toto? And neither are we. But we are all the richer for having had him here with us. And as for our own fate, well, as he would say, it's up to the Lord. August 8th, 2022, Mira Mesa, California.